and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. I'm your host, Maysa Doumaz. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the Secretary General of the National Liberation Front, Abu Fadl Ba'ji. The Secretary General of the National Democratic Rally, Tayyib Zitouni. And the President of the Society for Peace Movement, Abdelrazak Muqri. The advisor to the President of the Republic in charge of external relations, Abdelhafid Allahum, visits the house of the martyr of the national duty, Muhammad Khadim. Algeria condemns Morocco's diversion of the international conference to combat the terrorist group ISIS into an event dedicated to the issue of Western Sahara. And Turkey denies its recognition of Morocco's alleged sovereignty over Western Sahara. The mediator of the Republic, Brahim Rad, visits Kikda province to monitor the investment project's progress. Those were today's headlines. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the Secretary General of the National Liberation Front, Abu Fadl Ba'ji. The audience took place at the headquarters of the Presidency in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency, Abdelaziz Khalaf. Following this audience, Abu Fadl Ba'ji made the following statement.
Today we held a meeting with the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, as part of the consultations held with the political class from heads of parties to national figures. The President always ensures that consultations are held concerning all situations inside and outside the country regarding the political, economic and social aspects, as well as regional and international issues. The President makes sure to listen to political parties' officials on any opinion on major issues concerning the country's situation. He also listens to our positions concerning political, economic and social issues in the country. It was an honest discussion and we benefited from the President's idea, facts and data that he presented. There is a great agreement between the National Liberation Front's position in the President's concerning various national issues.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the Secretary General of the National Democratic Rally, Tayyib Zitouni. The audience took place at the headquarters of the Presidency in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency, Abdelaziz Khalaf. Following this audience, Tayyib Zitouni made the following statement.
We were honored today by the invitation from the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, to hold discussions with the political class and national figures. During this opportunity, we tackled many of the current national and international issues that the world is going through, namely the health and security crisis that affected many countries' economies. Algeria went through a major economic reform, and the President had the courage to open big workshops in political reform and institutional renewal, which should be exploited to build a political class and a strong internal front with the contribution of all political participants, as well as the Algerian society and all its categories. This front will enable us to create a suitable climate for an economic breakthrough and will strengthen the interior and domestic front. We cannot talk about the domestic front or national stability or even preserving our independence and our sovereignty unless our economy and our institutions are also strong. The economy today demands us to stand together and renew our views on economic renewal to encourage investors who want to invest in Algeria and get rid of other people who discourage them from building their countries. The discussions were honest and transparent, and we gave the President all the data that will enable us to kick off this economic construction and through its strengthening national unity and preserving our stability and our internal front.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the President of the Society for Peace Movement, Abdelrazak Muqri. The audience took place at the headquarters of the Presidency in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency, Abdelaziz Khalaf. Following this audience, Abdelrazak Muqri made the following statement.
It was a great opportunity. I listened to the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, evaluation of the economic, social, political and institutional situation of the country. He granted us the chance to give our suggestions in these different files. We gave many verbal and written suggestions, and we hope that as Algerians we will form a common view that will serve our country and guarantees freedoms. A real political transition and the development of civil society and its participation in its speciality to ease the burden on the state and also for development, promotion and enlightenment, so that the future view is clear for everyone, and so that Algerians are relieved that their future is in the country and that the competition is open with equal opportunities in political or economic fields. We focused on the necessity to turn to the need to achieve economic development as a fundamental guarantee for the country's stability, and also to protect the country from the regional and the international threats. Hopefully, we will engage for the future of our country, youth and our society.
On behalf of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, the advisor to the President of the Republic in charge of external relations, Abdelhafid Allahum, visited on Thursday the house of the martyr of the national duty, Mohammed Khadim, in the province of Ghilizan to offer condolences to the family of the deceased who died while accomplishing his noble mission.
On behalf of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, I condole the family of the martyr of the duty. May he rest in peace. This is destiny. The soul is priceless and cannot be compensated. But today, the President of the Republic has assigned me to give you this house contract and 100 million cents dinars for the orphans. His soul remains priceless though. May he rest in peace, and may God grant you patience. We thank our President and we thank you. God bless you all. He was your son. He died for our beloved country, for which our martyrs sacrificed their lives too.
The international conference to combat the terrorist group ISIS held in Marrakesh caused an uproar due to the statements made by the host country, which transformed this international gathering into an event dedicated to the issue of Western Sahara and turned this conference into a malicious attempt to revive a dead formula that was presented in 2007. Morocco's stubbornness in promoting its dead initiative on a large scale in the middle of an international gathering to combat terrorism has misled a number of participants, aiming to distort the truth on the issue of Western Sahara, which was and still is a matter of decolonization under the responsibility of the United Nations. Algeria, which paid a heavy price in its war against terrorism, calls on the United Nations and the permanent members of the Security Council to redouble efforts and end colonization in Western Sahara in all transparency. The Turkish Foreign Affairs Ministry has denied allegations by some Moroccan media regarding Turkey's recognition of Morocco's alleged sovereignty over Western Sahara. From the beginning, Turkey has pleaded for a political solution to Western Saharan issue. Turkey supports the territorial integrity and sovereignty of all countries, according to its Minister of Foreign Affairs. The Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Minister Ramtan Al-Amamra received on Thursday in Algiers the African Union Commissioner for Economic Development, Trade, Tourism and Mines, Albert Muchanga. In the parliamentary activity, a plenary session was chaired on Thursday by the President of the National People's Assembly, Brahim Boughali, devoted to oral questions in the sectors of interior, training, trade, public works, water resources and health. The Energy and Mines Minister Mohamed Arqab received on Thursday in Algiers the African Union Commissioner for Economic Development, Trade, Tourism and Mines, Albert Muchanga. The talks focused on ways and means to strengthen cooperation between the African Union and Algeria in the field of energy. The Energy and Mines Minister Mohamed Arqab met with the Sudanese Investment Minister Ahla Madani Sabil. The two parties talked about ways and means to strengthen cooperation between Algiers and Khartoum. Moving on to Paris, where a conference was organized on the massacres of May 8, 1945. According to historians who animated this conference, it is important for the Algerian community in France to know their history. More details with Rania Al-Bahri.
It is by communications via video recordings that Mohamed Al-Qorso, historian, researcher and former president of the association May the 8th, accompanied with the journalist writer Ammar Belkhouja, that this conference dedicated to youth about the massacres of May the 8th, 1945 was given. The historian Olivier Lecourmaison begins to discuss with great accuracy the impact of these massacres on many grey zones marked forever by the blood of 45,000 Algerians, victims of colonial oppression that lasted several weeks.
En ce qui concerne l'accès aux archives, simplement rappeler ceci.
About the access to the archives, the legislation in France, or the so-called archives law, is particularly restrictive, despite the promises made by Emmanuel Macron that have not yet been fulfilled. France today is very strict to those who are interested in Algerian war, especially those interested in the massacres of May the 8th, 1945, and the massacres of October 17th, 1961. Some archives are impossible to access and in some cases are even inaccessible. For Mohamed Antar Dawood, it's important that the national community in France continues its work concerning the memory and be associated with the commemoration of the 60th anniversary of independence. What we can say today is that this conference is a prelude to the celebration of the 60th anniversary of independence. We are mobilized by duty to the memory of May the 8th, 1945, which followed the assassination of 45,000 Algerians in Sétif, Galma and Khrada provinces, which was the inspiration of November the 1st, 1945. The only requirement of this wide national community is the recognition of the facts of violence, terror and war crimes of the colonial army against the defenseless people.
In the economic sector, the mediator of the Republic, Brahim Merad, has visited Skikda province to closely monitor the dynamic of investment after the lifting of bureaucratic obstacles. Leticia Sidqawi tells us more.
700 job posts were just created in Skikda after the lifting of obstacles on more than 10 investment projects, while other projects are to be launched by the beginning of this summer. We have faced great hindrances. What should have been fixed in 1 month took 3 months instead. We encountered obstacles on the level of all administrations. Today, we no longer have any problems thanks to the facilitations granted by the President of the Republic. In this industrial zone, we are facing problems related to the connection to electricity and water. The mediator of the Republic, Brahim Merad, has visited Skikda to inquire on the situation of the projects launched. He received on-the-spot explanations on the blocked investment projects till now, whose lifting of the freeze would revive the industry in the province. We just visited many projects in different fields. We have seen that the work accomplished by the local authorities has shown results. All of the obstacles were lifted in record time. With an industrial land of more than 500 hectares spread over 22 business areas, the province of Skikda is becoming an economic and industrial pole by excellence.
In Boumerdas province, 78 investors successfully received operating permits following the removal of obstacles, except for a tourist village that is still waiting to receive one from the province. Najah Tayyar has more.
78 operating permits were distributed until now in Boumerdès province by the Committee for the Follow-up of the Pending Investment Projects, composed of representatives from several sectors, aiming to lift the freeze on the unfinished projects in the region. There are investment projects that are already equipped and only need an exploitation permit to become operational. To this day, we have delivered 78 operating permits concerning various sectors. Furthermore, several agriculture exploitations suffered from electricity shortages, 23 of which benefited from electricity so far as part of the operating ordered by the President and led by the government. Mustafa is one of the investors who focused towards the tourism sector. His file is being processed to benefit from the new measures facilitating investment, and his project is the building of a tourist village with 36 lodges that should open its doors by July. My project is a cabin complex, and I hope that the administration will solve the problem of having concessions for me and the others. Concerning the operating permits, the province promised to deliver them as soon as possible so that we can start working. Over 860 out of 915 investment projects benefited from the lifting of the freeze, which will enable the creation of at least 34,614 jobs opportunities across the country.
The participants in the proceedings of a study day on the legal system of the communications sector, organized by the Ministry of Communication, called on for the establishment of an effective legal system allowing the communications sector to meet the current challenges. Other speakers mentioned issues related to the organizational and legal aspects for the creation of media companies with regard to advertising and the granting of the approval and the creation of workshops led by specialists and professionals. Ibtisam Hamlawi is assigned as the president of the Algerian Red Crescent. In her first statement, she said that she will promote volunteering through awareness campaigns throughout the national territory. In Oran, an agreement was made between the Committee for the Organization of the Mediterranean Games of Oran and the Algerian Confederation of Employers to support the organization of the 19th edition of this major sporting event. That was it for our news edition. Thanks for tuning in to our program. Good night.